Hey guys, welcome to the Drift Podcast. I'm here with my host Trav and myself, and today we've got Jared McLean, or J-Mac as he likes to be called, on the line from Perth, and yeah, he's here to talk a bit about an event in WA.
Yeah, so introduce yourself and give us a rundown on this event, dude.
Yeah, J-Mac, as you guys have said, I'm a motorsport commentator over here, and I basically talk about anything with a motor and wheels, whether it's 2 wheels, 4 wheels, anything. And actually part of the Driftwest Outlaw Drift Series, which has an upcoming event. We're already up to round 4, and that one's scheduled for July 22nd. So we've got our best local drivers here, and we're running in the main track, which has been a bit of a rarity over here in WA for a while, and it's really cool to come on the show, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Glad to have you, man, and glad to talk about some more Australian drifting, especially just after Drift Masters. So, because Australian competition drifting at least has been going a bit down, or not downhill, but actually like disappearing.
Yeah, definitely disappearing. So.
Yeah, good to hear another event, especially for the guys over in WA.
Yeah, we've gone with a very, very similar. In fact, I think Drift Masters might have used exactly the same format as us, but I think we did it first.
Oh yeah, of course
like I say, we're already up to round 4. Come on. No, we've got a really, really faithful bunch of dudes over here who have sort of come in. They've wanted to shake things up, and they've started this Outlaw Drift Series, and with the main intention to really be to maximise driver time.
Yep.
So usual deal, like you would have seen and spoke about with the Drift Master series, or once you sort of go for your battle, you get knocked out, you have to put it on the trailer, go home. We don't do that. We don't like that. We want to have guys getting as much seat time as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've gone with this format, and the closest thing that I can really sort of think that we're doing differently is we've assigned a bit of a bounty system to our points. So basically, if you come up against someone higher up on our championship ladder than yourself and you win, you score more points than if they actually beat you.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
yeah,
true.
That's a decent way of doing it. Yeah.
So what it's sort of really, really doing is it's rewarding guys for entering into more competitions and really driving consistently and really putting everything on the line to try and take home the victory.
Yeah, as well as giving people almost like a handicap, I guess, for amateur guys then to compete with the guys who have probably been doing it a lot longer than, say, the amateur guys. So kind of levels the playing field a bit, especially for point scoring. So that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. So the cool thing about what we've got happening, our next event's on July 22nd at Barbagallo Raceway.
That's actually my birthday that day.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you can tune in. You better come and you better tune into this. I'm going to be looooking for you on Facebook.
Yeah, for sure.
We've actually managed to score a really huge coup for drifting over here in WA, and we've managed to line up a live stream through a production company called Front Row Screens.
Okay.
So they've come on board. They've promised, I think it's 4 fixed cameras out there on track.
Right.
We're going to have a minimum of 1, maybe 2 wireless cameras so that we can actually get driver interviews, maybe some tech stuff from the pits on the fly. And we're also going to have live onboard cameras, which is something that's super hard to do. So the real goal is to try and take spectators and take people watching the stream online inside the cars with these guys as they battle.
Are people going to be able to pick which camera they watch then, or is it like a set?
At this point, that is some really sort of really technical, kooky stuff. We're not going to have that. It is going to be switched out of what we call an OB van, an outside broadcast van.
Yep.
And these guys are actually sort of doing some work with proprietary technology, because outside of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that sort of get spent on in-car cameras in like V8 supercars and NASCAR and Formula One, there hasn't really been an option. These guys are actually invented their own sort of system to bring costs down and still give good resolution and good latency and feedback.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, right. So they're going to actually be, I know that Formula Drift America was trying an in-car video with the Blackview cameras, but that failed completely. So that's a big budget program. So hopefully it goes well, because that'd be really cool if it does, considering that they couldn't even get it to work. So if you guys can nail that, that's a big deal.
Yeah, so we've got another couple of opportunities at a couple of drift practice before we actually get it out there on the event day. So we're obviously, like all good ideas, we're still ironing out some bugs and working some stuff out. But I'll seeing as how you guys have actually already mentioned Formula Drift, talk to me. What's your opinion on the Formula Drift stream on the day?
My biggest gripe with this is it goes too long. I think their show is way
We're talking
too
like 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah, I can't stand it. I'll sit back and I'll watch the 20-minute highlight thing on YouTube if they put it out. This year they haven't even been putting it out, so I actually haven't even watched any Formula Drift apart from like what's coming up by the drivers' YouTube channels. To be honest, it's hard to sit through so much crap. I think the last one I watched was at Wall, New Jersey, and I noticed that Forza Motorsport 7, I don't know if I can say that on here or not, but I just did. You're going to have to deal with it. Yeah. But that they kept referring back to like a static slide whenever there was nothing happening on track.
Yeah, that's
or a static one. Sometimes they run an ad last year that was just on repeat, but that was also terrible as a static slide. And they
didn't have anywhere near enough of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so what we've actually gone and we've gone back and looked at those, and we worked out all the stuff we don't want to do.
Yeah.
And what we want to minimize is downtime on track, and the guys from Driftwest, the Outlaw Drift Series, have really nailed that. We got something like 104 battles going down in as short a space as possible. We don't wait for the lead and chase driver to get back around to the start line to actually start the next battle.
Yeah.
We already have the next lineup stacked up, ready to go.
Yeah, and then if they need a rerun or whatever, then you can just do that in between the next battle.
Well, here's a kicker. We insisted that there were no reruns. Every decision is final.
Ooh, that puts a lot of pressure on those judges, though.
There's no 5-minute rule. There's no one more time. It is balls to the wall. Run your best, and if your best isn't good enough, you don't make it.
Yeah, right. So what if a two guys get matched up and they're super similar? What's going to be the go with that then?
There has to be a decision. There absolutely must be a decision.
Do you know who the judges are? Just so we can, I'm not going to know who they are, but maybe other guys from WA who listen to this might know who they are then. And
we recently got one of our, they're guys who have been involved in ADGP.
Okay. So they know what they're doing.
Mike Gibbo is a bloke over here who was locked up with ADGP for all the stuff in WA, and he's done a fantastic job. His role on the day is generally to run the track, and he leaves most of the adjudications to his two co-judges. Last round we had Aidan Friel and another judge whose name escapes me at the moment. But yeah, we had no problems with judging, and Gibbo generally was there unless there was anything major that stood out to him that really needed to be addressed. There were no real problems, and the vast majority of people were happy with the judging rulings. And we know how quick drifters are to jump up and down about a ruling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you put yourself in a hard position with no one more times and stuff like that. So
well, what I think it really sort of shows is the emphasis that Driftwest have put on bringing a show that's going to work for a spectator as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So we're with the stream. We're obviously we've got a massive range of cameras out there. We've got looking to make it a 3 commentator team headed up by myself. I've got our mate Matty Lynch, who I believe we were talking to on Facebook earlier today. He's coming on, so that'll be the first time for him. He actually runs a pretty cool YouTube channel out of here, Lyncho Drift.
Okay.
So if anyone's listening for that, go check him out. He's going to be one of our commentators, also drifts himself.
Yeah.
And I'm still looking for a third person who sort of has the chops to do it. I may have to pull from our circuit racing commentary guys over here in WA.
Yeah, okay. But, three commentators. That's big as well. Like normally, I think most drift events have just 2.
Yeah, 1 to 2. Yeah. So having 3 will definitely keep some nice variety.
Because we're planning on having someone down there ready to go to talk to drivers after or before a drift. Maybe there's an absolutely huge matchup that needs to sort of be talked about. We want to have that ready to go and have them ready to throw to at a moment's notice.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds great, actually.
So other stuff, we're going to have live on-screen graphics. You know how IDC have their judging slider that goes one way or the other? We're integrating that. We've already spoken to all of our drivers. We've got all their headshots. We've got all their photos of cars, the whole deal. It's all been stitched up as we speak. And in order to really sort of make this pop, we've got a couple of sponsors sort of lined up, but there are still opportunities.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Do you know who the sponsors are?
It's one of these things that we're actually talking to a telecommunications provider who at this point in time is just about squared away.
Okay.
And until that happens, we can't really.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fair. Yeah.
Is any of the motorsport related sponsors?
The telecoms provider that we're talking to, they are heavily invested in a lot of East Coast motorsport.
Okay.
At this point, we're still going around and we're sort of hitting up like the likes of your Penrite and Newline Oils. We're talking to some tuning houses, stuff like that. The cool thing about a live stream that's got this sort of switching capability is that everything can be, for want of a better word, monetized. So just for example's sake, it could be the Drift Podcast live replay.
Yeah.
Or you could call it,
exactly.
You could start naming, instead of just turn 1 or turn 2, you can really sort of get some brand activation and actually for a cost that's going to go back into the sport and the competition. You could actually get your name out there. And one of the big things with me is that I will push a sponsor to the point where the spectators and audience members, they know it off by heart.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You'll be out there singing a jingle.
Oh, dude. Pay me and I will do anything. Come on.
Oh, don't say that on camera.
Yeah, hey, you heard it here first, man. Come on. Man of my word. So, look, it's a massive, massive opportunity, not just for the club, but also for the drifting sort of scene over here.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got some cool dudes that are doing the right thing, and I think a massive, massive part of what these guys understand is that they've got to pump their social media.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and not only that is like when you go live stream, you open it up to the world. So, like anyone can watch it from anywhere across the world, you know, so, that's good.
Yeah, definitely
that's
very
good.
exciting times, eh?
Yeah. Oh, that's rad. How many drivers are going to be attending this one?
So we cap the driver entries, obviously, because it is so many battles. We're talking like 8 battles per driver. We've got 24 drivers entered into this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have a 5-driver waiting list as such that they come, they get scrutineered on the day, and they are there to drop in to the competition at a moment's notice to fill it, because we don't even want buy runs out there.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Interesting. It should be an interesting event, that's for sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
and good for Australia. And I mean, like, if you guys can nail that no downtime stuff, like keep the crowd enthused, I think that's the biggest thing that draws people to watching party drifting as well. Like your Matsuri events, is there's always action.
Yeah, constant driving,
constant action, and that's what people want to see. So, if a competition event can pull that off, like you guys could end up setting that stage of how it happens in other drift events across the world too, you know. So it'd be an interesting one if you can nail it.
So the live stream is going to be, I believe, hosted through our Driftwest Facebook page and also through our naming rights sponsor.
Yep.
So once that sponsorship goes up, we'll shoot you guys a message, and if you're able to sort of put it out there,
totally, definitely,
they'll be sort of hosting it, and push it as hard as everyone can, get more people onto it. Because if it kind of sucks to say it, but it is true. But if this doesn't work, then drifting on the main track at Barbagallo here in Perth is in a pretty bad way.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to sort of really push it and make sure it continues on, and that more people get to come and graduate to it and enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like we want to see drifting stay in Australia for as many Australians as we can too.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
you know, at as many tracks as we can. Like, too many are shutting down. So, from complaining neighbours. So, we need as many people attending these events as possible, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Awesome.
Cool. So, yeah, just follow Driftwest. I think it's at Driftwest Oz for
And that's
their
one word,
Instagram.
is it?
Yeah, at Driftwest Oz is the Insta.
Yep.
And just search Driftwest, all one word, for the Facebook page.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll be able
share that
to.
around.
We'll tag you guys in some posts on Instagram and Facebook. That'll be easy, so people can find
for
you.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Awesome, dude. Well, any closing words, or that about it?
Yeah, July 22nd. So
July 22nd.
lock it in.
Sweet.
And,
That's a Sunday for everyone. And
Yes.
check what time for people on Perth time, so that we can put up like a standard time for people.
Yeah, so Western Standard Time, we don't do any of that daylight savings crap.
Neither do we in Queensland.
Queensland's safe for that.
We're looking at kicking off, I think, with practice at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock
So-
in Perth time. Sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
Battle starting at like 10:30. So, and 104 battles in total.
Okay. Well, it's
Awesome.
easy for people. Perth is just 2 hours behind Queensland, so that
Yes.
works out at about. They'll kick the event off at about 11 a.m. on July 22nd, Queensland
Yeah.
time. So, yeah, definitely check
Yeah.
that out, guys.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, check out that Lincho Drift YouTube channel and myself, J Mac Media, J-Mac, M-A-C.
Yeah, sweet.
I do drifting, motocross, drag racing, supermoto, speedway. I do everything, man.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
rad.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll have to have you guys back on after the event to see how it all went down.
For sure, man.
Awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for that. And yeah, we'll be talking to you.
Cheers,
Good
man.
on you guys. Take care.
Catch
You
you.
too, bro. Rad.
Awesome.
That looks like it's going to be a really, really good event.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Like, especially if they can nail a few of those points. That's a massive thing for
Yeah.
Australian drifting as well as
100%.
drifting in general. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even seen ADGP bring any of that stuff out, and they've
No.
been going for ages.
yeah.
Drift Masters was good, but there was no live stream.
No,
of it.
that's it. Like,
So it was like-
and it even took them maybe like 4 or 5 days to even put a video out. So,
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be cool to see that all come out like on the day, which would be really rad. Plus all the extra media stuff afterwards. So
yeah, for
No.
sure.
I'm actually really keen for that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
But yeah, so
What news you got, dude?
well, there's going to be a party drifting event down in Port Macquarie at the track that Bring the Bash was held at. So that'll be really cool.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's on the 21st of July. So if you are down that way, you should check it out. It should be good fun.
Yeah, sweet. Anything
yeah.
else that's previously happened though?
Oh, not too much. Not since our last podcast, anyway.
Yeah,
Other
fair
than
enough.
other than the fact that
It has only been a week, so
Yeah,
because we do apologize everyone that we
Yeah.
messed up last week, but
got
we're
the
making
sound-
up with it now.
soundboard's working now. So
Soundboard's
it's-
working, and we got video, so
It's all
it's not
good.
live, but yeah,
getting
you
there.
guys have to deal with that.
Yeah, fixed the 34, tested it, works. Keen to do Archie again. It's gonna be great.
Awesome.
It feels
awesome.
good to have a working car again, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you had some news, didn't you?
Yeah, so we had FD Japan go by, and
Oh yeah, that's right.
it was Mad Mike won, and that's his 2 consecutive wins on that. And who?
Actually,
Oh, it was the Australian came second.
Oh, right.
Nick Wilson. Do you know Nick Wilson?
Don't know Nick Wilson, but that's sick.
He was at Matsuri, QR Matsuri. I'm pretty sure he was driving a red R33 from memory.
I think I know the car, but yeah, no, I was working it.
Yeah, I think he was pretty high up in Australian drifting. You know, he
Yeah.
was sponsored by Kazama and some other top
Oh, wow.
name stuff. Yeah, like he was driving JSX 100. Yeah,
That's cool
and-
as. Yeah, I saw a video of Mad Mike tipping it in as well, like chasing Daigo Slider. That was hectic.
Yeah, yeah.
Like full on. So no, good on Mad Mike for winning. He definitely keeps it entertaining.
Yeah, in that RX-7. That RX-7's beautiful too. Yeah,
Sounds so
that
good.
was at Ebisu, that event on West Course. And then they had Hayato Miyoshi. I probably butchered that name so badly. He was just in an ER34 Skyline.
Yeah, boy.
Boring cars.
Nah, bring the Skyline.
Andrew Gray, though, from Power Vehicles, he was trying to get his 4th consecutive win this year, but was defeated in the quarterfinals. So, unfortunately, it's not that good a year. I mean, he debuted that new car, and it's not been his year so far. If you do want to check out drifting, it is on the same day as the Driftwest, so you can literally have both up on your screen and watch both. Because the
If your
Scuba Drift
Australian
D1
internet holds up.
yeah, if you're Australian, you better be watching Driftwest though. But on the 21st and 22nd is Scuba Drift for D1 GP this month as well. So definitely watch both of those events because they should be about the same time because Japan's 1 hour behind us in Queensland. So
yeah, right.
some party drifting events though that have been going on around the world. I was cruising through some deep Instagram hashtags and I found a Russian drift event called Tsunami Picnic, and it looks awesome. Search Tsunami Picnic in their main profile page on Instagram is just Tsunami Picnic, one word. But if you follow some of those hashtags through that page and just searching Tsunami Picnic hashtag, some of the content that was coming out of that event looked awesome. Like, Russians know how to make a cool event. Like, and there's hundreds of people at this event. Like, it's not a small event.
That's sick.
You can kind of see, if I bring up the Instagram, I'll put it in front of the camera. I don't know if it'll focus very well, but there is lots of people at this event. I don't know if you can really see, but it
that's
looks like
huge.
a big event, like a really big event, like almost like the size of like a Power Cruise Australia event.
That looks way bigger than Matsuri ever gets.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, other than that, there wasn't that much news. As I said, it's only been 1 week. So might as well get on to our topics.
Yeah, topic of the day. So
topic of the day.
Bit to do with your trip to Japan as well. 'Cause it ties into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, drift prep and, what to bring to a track day when you go drifting.
Yeah.
Because I got a bit of a shock when I heard about what they were bringing to like a D1 event that the MSC.
Well, they were a
event.
D1 team, but they came to it was a Drift Kingdom, which used to be called Drift Muscle, which is run by Kichi Tsushiya. So yeah, I went up there with Kenjiro Kiguchi, and I'm hoping I'm not butchering his name as well, but that isn't Ken Gucci from Formula Drift. Please don't get that mistake. Please don't make that mistake. His name is slightly different. But he came 22nd in D1 GP overall point score last year. Which some of you might be going, oh, that's pretty bad. But that means that he's pretty much 22nd top 22 drivers in Japan right now, and the biggest thing though is this dude, at least up until now at this D1 GP event at Scuba, he's going to be for the first time driving his new car, but up until now he's been doing it all off his own back, basically. Like, he's had a couple of minor sponsors and stuff to get him through, but they built the car in their garage, and that might not sound much to most people.
Yeah, especially not in Australia.
Not in Australia or America, but in Japan, that's a big deal. There's pretty much no other teams on D1 that can even afford to do that. And his car, it looks beaten up. It's just a Laurel, a C33 Laurel with the 2JZ only making about 600 horsepower, which when you 600. Think about D1, that is not much. That is seriously not much. So, and the craziest thing that I thought about that is when we came to this Drift Kingdom event, we left at I think we left his house at about 2 a.m. to drive 6 hours up to Sugo Circuit. But it was just load the car up from his house, put it on a basic like a what do you call them? Tilt tray
truck, is it?
Yeah, a truck, and load it up onto that and take that up. He actually slept in the car on the back because there was 4 of us and only 3 seats in the cab, so he was sleeping in the car in the in a tiny little bucket seat the whole way up.
That's brilliant. Good on him.
Yeah. So with like plexiglass windows and everything. So yeah, and
what a guy.
Yeah, and yeah, he built the whole car in his garage, brings it up there. We start unloading in the morning, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, so where's the toolbox? And they're like, what toolbox? And I'm like, well, that's a bit weird. I'm like, okay, I guess we've got some sockets and spanners that are probably made in the 80s and probably cost $2 even back then. But okay, let's deal with that. And I'm like, okay, where's the spare parts box? And they're like, what spare parts? And I'm like, whoa, we just drove 6 hours for you not to bring any spares. And they're like, it's not going to break. And I'm like, what? No, like, you guys are crazy. This is going to be a recipe for disaster. So, but we made it through the weekend. We did get knocked out really early, unfortunately. I don't know if I spoke about that last week, but with the way that the Drift Kingdom events are run, like Tsuchiya only cares about speed. Like, so when you're doing your qualifying, you have to be nailing that speed. Of course, his car doesn't have a speedo, so he can't even check that. And no one was sitting there with the speed gun measuring it when he was doing his practice laps. And we were 3 kilometers an hour under the minimum speed limit. 3 kilometers an hour, like that. Actually will not make a difference to the drift whatsoever, like especially in a 600 horsepower car. But 3 kilometers under, didn't qualify after driving 6 hours for this event.
That's real harsh.
The worst bit was, like, I was away from the crew, so they were on the radio to him, so I wasn't near them when I was filming. And I'm like, man, he's so consistent. This is going to be perfect. Like, we look the best out there consistently wise and line wise out of anyone. I'm like, awesome. This is going to be great. They walk over to me and they're like, nah, we're out. I'm like, what? Like, you're kidding me, right? And yeah, we were out because purely because we were 3 kilometers under the speed limit. But anyway, back to the tools. So we had no parts, no tools, and they were cool. Like, they were so chill about it that I reckon they rock up to D1 events like that. And I'm just like, what is going on? So, I mean, yeah, like, build your car well in your garage and maybe you don't even have to bring tools to the track. Like,
why not?
Oh, the other cool thing is they did full wheel alignments at the track too. So it was made by IKEA Formula made this kit, and it bolts to your wheel nuts and sticks out, and you run a string line to your back wheel, and you can set your toe and everything, as well as it had camber levels and stuff in it, built into it as well, and you could check your toe and camber on the fly at the track through that. Like, that's actually really cool. Made by IKEA Formula. Like, I was blown out enough by that, and like they were doing it to the millimeter. Like, that's how accurate it was.
Wow.
Yeah, really cool. The actual spares that they did bring though for competition was they did bring different shocks and different spring rates to swap in and out to get what they wanted for the track. And they did bring a spare diff, but it wasn't actually a spare. It was only to change the ratios. So that was their spares list, and their tools was literally an Allen key set that was about $2 from Kmart type of place. They had a spanner set that also looked like it came from a Kmart type place for about $2. And they had this 1980s or 60s or 50s socket set, like, that I reckon if I looked in it, was probably missing the vital sockets anyway. So like that was it, and that was literally just like thrown in a bag, like, and that was what they brought, like nuts. So I mean, you want to pack light for a drift event. That's a big one. You don't want
you don't want to go overboard, but you do want to bring some essentials. Like
something.
Yeah, like just the common things that break, in my opinion.
I would have thought you should have brought spark plugs and stuff like that for these competition cars.
But oil.
They didn't even pop the bonnet. They're not even checking it. Like
I can appreciate that, but that's scary.
2J reliability, but I mean, come on.
It's like, you're making 600 horsepower and you're doing a D1 event. You want to check the oil.
I know. So
I like Toyota people. They're good.
Yeah. Like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, it was just a whole different way of thinking. But I think that's so true to Japanese events as well. Like, even the guys that come up to the Matsuris and stuff, like, they bring stuff all. Like, if we drove as far as they did to an event that was an all weekend and all night event, like, I'd bring my whole garage.
100%.
Like, if I could at Ebisu, I would bring every tool I own. But easy. I have to buy them over there, and then they get stolen. So I tend not to buy too many tools after that happened. But anyway, it's what it is. But so give me a rundown. What would you bring to a drift event?
Well, so I just bring the basics. I was spare. Well, in the case of my 8.6,
let's go with the 8.6 first, and then we'll talk about the Nissan.
It's a live axle. Left and right are the same size, so I just bring a spare axle, spare diff fluid, spare gearbox oil, spare engine oil.
Yeah.
Set of spark plugs, and I got my spanner set, socket set, and that's pretty much it that I have to bring for the 8.6 because it's stupidly simple. And if anything else bends, you're not changing it at the track. But for the Skyline, I've got a set of axles. I have a spare diff. Again, the oils I bring. And again, that's basically all I bring. Just, tools that I can change the parts that break with, and a rattle gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they had a rattle gun. I think that was one thing they did have, but that was only to change the tires. But for the whole event, they only had 3 pairs of tires for the whole event, including
practice
qualifying.
Oh, wow.
Practice, they had 2 dead pairs that had 30% left on them. That was it. This is a 600 horsepower car, man, and they're like, stop smoking the tires in qualifying. We're gonna need them for the battles. And he's like, oh yeah, okay. So he had to calm down in the qualifying or the practice. He actually ended up using the same tires on practice as what he did on qualifying.
And that was the 3 kilometers right there.
Yeah. Oh man. But anyway, crazy stuff. But I definitely didn't agree with the way that Drift Kingdom was done for the qualifying, because there's no way that they're going to be out with a speed gun for the battles.
No way. Battles would be different, but I mean, the idea behind it seems pretty interesting, but
3 kilometers, you think about that when you're going 100k an hour.
So what was the actual speed limit? So
I think it was you had to be going 80, but this is into this is a go-kart track. It's not a full-size track.
It's a tiny track.
No, it's Sugo's mini track inside of Sugo.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah. Sugo's massive. The main track's massive.
Yeah, no, the drift track's tiny.
But no, you can drift main track on some events. I think D1 goes to main track.
Oh, yeah, D1. But I'm talking
is the go-kart track. And it would be, I would say, 3.5 meters wide. It's about a car and a half wide, I'd estimate. So if you parked a car crossways on it, it would be a car and a half wide.
True.
Now, entering that into a 90-degree corner left at 80k an hour in a 600 horsepower car, and it literally goes like that, and that. So it's a square in the corner. So, and it really thins out in this area between the 2 corners. So, you're hitting this at 80. If you're going too fast, I saw 2 cars wipe out onto the wall up the wall because they were going just that little too fast. So I reckon 80k an hour was not only was it your minimum, but it was your maximum too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I didn't really agree with that. As well as the fact that if you move a speed camera, like especially a basic one that's not by a copper, like if you move that into a slightly different spot, it's going to read slightly different. Like they have a tolerance to them.
Yeah.
So like it's going to have like a 5% tolerance, let's say, and at 80k an hour, 5% would be 3 kilometers an hour. So I was a bit skeptical on that.
Yeah.
There's one part of the event I did disagree on, and I don't think other events should implement. Formula Drift actually did have minimum speed entries long ago, and they got rid of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my biggest gripe with that event, with the way it was run. Other than that, it was a very cool event to go to, and I do recommend that people go to them as a spectator, but I probably wouldn't say to go to it to drive. Yeah, just as minimum track time, and yeah, that the way that was judged, yeah, maybe it's different at different courses, but that Sugo one was just, I think they were really, but again, at the same time, they want the perfect drivers to win, you know, so if you're not pushing yourself to the limit, then you probably don't deserve to win either. So it's like, it's that weird middle.
You see both sides of the story.
Yeah. But I think there just had to be just a little bit of a leeway there. Like 3 kilometers, like that's tolerance for me. So as long as they're around that 80 mark, I would have been happy if it was me, rather than a minimum 80. But at the same time, the driver should have had a speedo or something, had bought a basic speed camera, or even asked the guys that were running the speed camera in practice GPS to tell me. No, but even to ask the guys that were, because they were running the speed cameras in practice, to tell people how fast they were going, and if they needed to go faster, they should have been asking them, were we going fast enough? Were we going fast enough?
Yeah.
So they could judge it. Anyway, it is what it is, and we got knocked out. So, I mean, you can't cry and whinge about it. You just got to cop it on the chin and learn from your mistakes. And I just said to him, I'm like, next time, make sure you're going 3 kilometers too fast. So,
but don't hit the wall.
So, yeah, but yeah, it is what it is, and that's just the way drift events, like competition wise, go. I mean, I'm not the type of person that wants to run a competition event, so overall that turns me off it, but it was a really good experience to go and watch a proper Japanese competition and see how strict they are on these things. You know, I can totally understand after watching that event why they have the DOS system, because it's just like, you do this and you do that, and that's how it's done. And that's such a Japanese way of thinking. So there's a famous saying, and it goes along the way of, you don't break the rules because they are the rules, is the saying, like in translation. So yeah.
Very Japanese.
So yeah, it's super Japanese way of doing it, but yeah, it is what it is. As for me then, so did you finish your basic tool setup?
Yeah, I've finished my basic tool setup.
Yeah,
but you've also driven a little bit further for some of your drift events. So do you pack anything else? Or how do you set your, but I guess
yeah, I pack a lot. I do. I if I'm in Australia, I pack a lot. When I'm in Japan, you don't have to worry about it because you got power vehicles to pack stuff for you.
Yeah.
So as long as you've got your tools, as far as parts go, you're getting your parts through power vehicles. So, because that's all you have, unless you're buying it before you get to the track, you know, off Yahoo or whatever. So, but in Australia, I don't bring too many spares. I've snapped wheel studs. That was the big one that I always carry them now. I did, I was threaded on a wheel nut and it stripped the wheel stud, so then I had to change it. And I've had one snap before as well, as I was tightening it too. So, is that the GoPro turning off?
Hopefully not.
Oh, it made a beeping noise.
No,
it's still live. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I lost my train of thought then.
Yeah, snapping wheel studs, bro.
Yeah, snap the wheel studs. So bring them. I think like they cost $3 and you can just chuck them in your toolbox. Just grab one, and bring wheel nuts as well because you never know. So chuck in a couple of wheel nuts with your wheel studs. I've had them fall off my trailer too. I've had wheel nuts come off my trailer wheels. So you got to think about that too in Australia. Like make sure that your tow car and your trailer are reliable. Bring a spare tire for your trailer. That's a big one.
You should always have a spare tire for your trailer.
Didn't. Lucky it was 4-stud or the same as my 8.6. So, and my friend's S13. So we got one of his S13 tires, put wheel spacers on and put the drift tech on my trailer to get me home. Yeah, don't leave home without spares for your tow car if you're going far away or even just up the road. I bring spark plugs. I bring oil. Oil's a big one. Like I always bring engine oil, diff and gearbox oil, and brake fluid. And I don't worry about coolant. I just bring a jug for water. I do bring a water sprayer. You get from like a place like Bunnings or if you're in America, like a Home Depot, and it's just like
it's like a pressure pack with a spray trigger.
Yeah, for doing like getting rid of weeds and stuff like that. And you can just buy it in the gardening section. Costs you like $2, and bring that. Spray your radiator down as soon as you come in, and you'll be good as gold. So.
It's actually not a bad idea. I never thought of that.
Yeah. So that's how I kept the RB cool in the S13 because they're known to get to overheat all the time. So I just pop the bonnet, spray it down with that, and good to go. I've brought welders before. When I go far away, I bring my gasless welder, and I have had to use it a couple of times just for basic stuff, like your diff mounts falling off the diff.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to bring that up.
But that was because of the way the car was actually strapped down. It pulled and broke the mount off the diff because it was strapped to that as it was on the trailer. So make sure you're strapping around a wheel, not around your diff mount. Don't be like me.
Don't be Trav.
Don't be Trav. That's probably rules of the world. Don't be Trav. What else? There's not really many others. Like I'm a mechanic and I'm an auto electrician. So when I think of the tools that I just bring everything that I take in my work van. So my work van is a roll around workshop. So like I've got all of my hand tools like tin snips, socket spanners, breaker bars. I've got all my battery tools, my battery grinder, my battery rattle gun, and my battery drill. Hammers.
That's more than I have in my garage.
I bring a big sledgehammer because you never know, and I bring like multimeter. That's a big one. Like if you got electrical issues and you're at a racetrack, you want a multimeter and probably an LED test light for testing your spark and injector pulses and stuff like that. That's super handy. Bring that. Like I would say that's a bare minimum is bring a multimeter and an LED test light. If you don't have that stuff, bring it. What else do I bring? It's so hard for me to remember because I literally just drive around with it every day for work. So it's just like second nature for me to bring all that stuff. I have a nice roll around toolbox. So it's actually like a toolbox on wheels. It's a plastic one. And I use that at work. So I literally just, when I want to go to an event, I just roll it out of my work van, and you could roll it out of your garage and just put it straight in the back of your car. You can roll it to your tent or your garage or whatever you have at the track.
Parked,
That's really handy to have as a nice toolbox. And I think that those plastic roll around ones are great for that. Like, and then inside that, I'll have everything in separate boxes or bags so that you go, okay, this bag's got my electrical stuff in it. This one's got my spares in it. This one's got hand tools, spanners, whatever. Yeah. So having a box, like you can buy an SP tools for $99. They are a 1/2-inch kit. Super high quality. I use it all day, every day at work, and it's great. It's called the Motorsport box or something like that, and it's just a basic 1/2-inch kit, and that's all you need as far as sockets and spanners. You can just use it straight on your breaker bar, and yeah, you're good to go. So, yeah, like it's just all that kind of stuff. I bring a quarter drive set too, but honestly, most of my tools I don't even end up using. Like, I'm happy if I don't have to open my toolbox.
Well, of course.
But if you're going with friends, you should be pitching in together that say, I'll bring the socket set, I'll bring the jacks, I'll bring the jack stands, and you guys can bring the power tools, the lights, the gazebo, and all that kind of stuff, you know? I think you have to split that between your friends if you have friends. I don't have friends. But
sorry, Trav.
You've never been to a drift event with me. So.
I've never drifted with you.
Yeah, no.
Like, we've talked about it.
Crap friend. So, anyway.
There was one drift event.
Let's stop talking about you being a crap friend. And all right, what do you bring for your Skyline?
Yeah, pretty much the same as my 8.6 as I was saying before, but I'm a little bit more prepared to repair it, I guess. I bring a lot more tools. So I've got a little red toolbox and we've shoved so many tools in there.
Yeah, just like random stuff that you've collected over the
So we've
years.
got like wire crimps, we've got connectors, wire. You got your long-handled closed-end spanners because, ripping off axle bolts under the car ain't fun.
Yeah, I know the ones.
Yeah, like just every other odd tool you could imagine that you'd need to get something out at the track we brought. So like you got your really right-angled long needle nose pliers, everything.
Yeah. Circlip pliers if you ever need to fill up your gearbox at the track. You want to have circlip pliers with you so then you don't have to get under the car to do it. You can just pull your shifter out and
go from there.
Bring your circlip pliers.
Yeah, so... But and then...
Well, one thing before I forget quickly is a Leatherman, which is like a multi-tool.
I used to have one of those.
Great. I carry it around for work all day and I keep it on my belt when I'm at the track as well. You just got to be careful it doesn't get knocked off and you lose it and it falls through the hole in your floor.
I don't have those.
You will in the 8.6. Oh, you got carpet.
No, I got carpet and I put the rubber seals back in.
If you got a track car... If you're a real man, then
I was sick of my car filling up with water. That's not happening again.
That's why you pull the plugs out that you lose everything out of.
Yeah, but if you keep the plugs in, the water doesn't go in the car when you drive through flood water.
Anyway, but different ways of doing things. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. So,
that's it.
But yeah, a multi-tool. It's great. It's
great. 100%. Definitely.
Heaps of tools ready to go. You got pliers, your
cutters, your little
cutters,
knife.
screwdrivers, whatever. You got it all there, ready to go. That's a handy one, definitely. Continue.
Fire extinguisher.
Big one. Saved me multiple times.
I had my 8.6 catch on fire.
Yeah.
And
not the only one.
Yeah. That was the day that I really thought about being prepared because I had to run over to a hose and it was actually the alternator being on fire. So I'm really happy the water.
Alternator catch on fire, Ben.
My fuel line burst right above the.
So wasn't your alternator?
No, but
the alternator.
But the alternator went up with it, and I was just like, "Oh, the car's still running." It was water, and it stopped burning, so it was okay.
Water on an electrical fire.
I didn't have anything else. That's why I'm like, that's from that day. Every single one of my cars got a fire extinguisher and I keep one next to the toolbox. So if I pull into
if you're
pits,
qualified to be on this podcast. Okay, bring a
home.
fire extinguisher, don't be Ben. And
don't be me.
And check your fuel lines. Don't be that Ferrari from Formula Drift.
Yeah, actually. Same with the Skyline. Straight after the reshell, 3 fuel lines blew up. So
I've had a fuel line blow up. I've had a friend actually, as he was working on the car, have a fuel line blow up on him in the engine bay as well.
Was it in his face?
No, he was cranking it over and the starter motor, the main battery cable from the battery to the starter motor was loose. So it arced and boom, the whole engine bay has gone up in flames because as he's sat it on ignition, it's primed it. He hasn't seen or heard this fuel leak. Cranked it. Boom, the sparks come out from the starter motor arcing on the battery cable. Boom, the whole thing's gone up in flames.
That's scary.
That can happen too, you know. So it can be dangerous, guys. So
I always keep a length of fuel line down with my spare tire just in case that ever happens. It's a good one to mention.
Yeah, well, spare parts then.
Yeah, like I just bring the minimum I need. Like if I'm just going to, let's say, Archie, it's not very far away from me. So if I do need to get it towed home, I can either get RACQ to do it or a friend can do it. But if I'm going a little bit further, like QR, or if I went down to Raleigh for halfway hangs or something like that, I'd definitely be packing like a spare diff along with the axles and, you know, like a few seals like that you need. Preferably. No, but yeah, just basic stuff like that you know is a common failing point for your car.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, I don't bring any like major spare parts. With an 8.6 being live axle, if you blow the diff up, or I guess some people bring axles, but I got an F-Series diff out of a Tarago, so I don't have to generally worry about that.
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty unlucky.
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty unlucky to do that, and you're probably going to have warning signs a long time before then. Yeah, I haven't really been caught out by anything breaking on that car. It had a lot of electrical issues to begin with, but
yeah, that all-day sesh you did.
Yeah, well, that was just a loose earth wire. You know, start with your earths, people. If your fucking car breaks down at the racetrack and you've just pulled your turbo off and you put it all back together a day before the track day, and then your car doesn't start and you're wondering what the hell's going on, check your earth wires around your turbo and everything else that you pulled off, because you probably left one off. So, yeah.
Yep.
That caused me but yeah, that's kind of stuff. I haven't really had anything break on me. Even in my Sylvias, I haven't had anything break on me either. And in Japan, I haven't had anything break apart from me being stupid and breaking it by coming off track, because do not come off track at Ebisu ever.
Because aren't the drop-offs like that big?
Yes. Do not come off track. I came off track and I broke a knuckle. Like, it actually cracked the whole knuckle. And that's super common over there. So they have like a stockpile of knuckles. Like, I'm like, what? Like, my knuckle's broken? Like, how does this happen? But yeah, that like, I didn't bend any arms. It just cracked the knuckle right where the ball joint goes to the hub.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that's hectic.
Yeah, if you go into a track then that does have big drop-offs, or you're worried about that you're learning and you're going to be coming off track a lot, like possibly.
I just do that in general.
If you're going to be bent, then definitely look at bringing knuckles, like rear knuckles and rear suspension arms with you, especially for Sylvias and Skylines. You should be looking at bringing tie rods with you, because they can bend pretty easily on any car, realistically. But bringing rear arms and stuff like that is super easy for a Sylvia or a Skyline. That stuff's so cheap. Like, even if you just have an eBay set just to get you through the rest of the day, it's better than having nothing.
Oh, 100%.
So I have the GoPro turning off. Why is it beeping? No,
it just likes to beep.
It just likes to beep. Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely arms is a good one. I should probably get a few of those.
Yeah, just have a couple of spares, because you got to remember as well, you only have to have spares for one side.
Yeah,
because it's for most arms they're opposite, and you can just run them. I think.
Yeah. Well,
I think
Nissans.
I can't think of any. Yeah, with the Nissan, I can't think of any that aren't the interchangeable left and right.
Yeah, they should all be the same off memory.
So that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know much about JZXs.
And tie rods ends even on Nissans and stuff. You might find if you're running aftermarket front knuckles that with like a rack spacer, like a bolt-in rack spacer, one of your tie rod ends will be longer than the other. But if you bring a grinder, or one of your mates does, you can cut it down to the right length that you need anyway. So, and as you're cutting them, when you initially build your car, write down the measurements in notes on your phone, so then you can just cut it to the right length, because when it's bent 90 degrees, good luck measuring it to the right length.
Yeah.
And when you pull it off, count the threads, so then you can put it back on and it'll have a very close wheel alignment to what it did before. So yeah, just basic stuff like that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I never thought of that.
Yeah. I mean, like, down at Raleigh Raceway, bring tie rods. Like, that track has got deep drop-offs, or at least it used to. And it's known for bending tie rods. I imagine that Archie would have used to been pretty bad. except now they've changed their ripple strip design.
Actually did change their ripple strips. They took the big ones out and actually made lower ones, which is much nicer. So
so that'll be a lot better.
Also, their little islands, for anyone that's driven there knows about the islands. They used to have like real horrible drop-offs in the middle. Yeah, they've put like a ripple strip that goes around the drop-off, so it's a smooth in and out, so you won't actually completely ruin anything when you hit it.
Make sure as you're talking to me, you're still talking into the mic too.
I'll try.
Because people are probably like, hey. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, not really. That covers it, Eddie. It's just like, just be logical with what you need.
Don't
think
try
about
not
where
to
you're
fall
going.
into the trap of bringing too much, though. Like me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad though. You have a work truck, so it's all just goes with you anyway.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of the thing, like, if you have the room in your, like, say you're bringing a ute down to tow you and, you know, you have that little bit of room, then sure enough, it's kind of one of those things like, if you don't bring that diff with you, you're going to break it. But if you bring it with you, you're not going to break it. So,
always the way.
It's always the way. Like, that's caught me out so many times. I'll like hold a part in my hand at home and I'd be like, no, I'm not going to need it. And I put it back down. I get down to the event. Halfway through a day, I'm like, I need that part so bad. Like, that always happens. So I guess if you do have room and you're not overloading your car, then like your tow car or whatever, try not to bring too much, but at the same time, be logical.
Yeah, think about where you're driving, I guess. You know, if it is something like rally where you got heaps of drop-offs, definitely bring parts that you could specifically break.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if your motor is like an older style, like a 4-age original setup, you know, you probably should be bringing things like spark plugs, spark leads, and coil. Like, if you have it spare, like, maybe you don't have to go out and buy it, but if you can just buy it like once before this event, then you buy another bit before this event, before you know, you've got a nice little box full of a nice little parts.
That's what I did for my 86. I just filled a milk crate up.
Or one of those like plastic containers, you know, that people put normal things in.
Oddly enough, the weirdest thing I kept in that was a fuel pump.
I've actually had people needing fuel pumps at the track. That's actually a pretty common one, especially if you're running like all day, or like multiple day events. I've had people have fuel pumps die. Yep, that's one. So yeah, for sure. Well, what about news about the podcast? Obviously, we're on
finally got video now,
so
and hopefully won't be too bad at it.
Yeah, well, we say that we have video, but we haven't uploaded it yet, so next time we'll say we have video or had video, because maybe this will just come out audio only if this all doesn't actually work. And yeah, just let us know if there's anything that you guys would like to see change. I've put in a lot of work to get this to where it is now so that you guys can see us. I was pretty heartbroken that it didn't work last week. But it's all just trying to do things on a budget and within the means of what we have. Like, if you guys actually looked around the room to see what we have, I think you guys would laugh a lot. Okay, I'll give you a quick audio rundown. I have a softbox. If people know what that is, that's what lights us up softly so that we're not like super bright, but evenly light us. It's made out of a cardboard box with a light in it, and I stuck a bit of paper over the front. So and our green screen is actually multiple shades of green because Bunnings couldn't mix up two different things without even getting them remotely close. So,
and you'd be pissed if you were painting your house and Bunnings mixed your paint up.
Don't
I
get
need
Bunnings to mix
two cans of paint.
Or at least, no, I think my stuff up was I told them the amount that I wanted them to mix. And rather than, if you want Bunnings to mix your paint,
just get them to mix it all at once.
No. Pick your color from the chart. They can mix it like that. But if you hand them, and if you write down on a sheet of paper, I want you to mix 2 parts of this with 1 part of this, it will be totally different the next day when they make it again. So pick it off a chart. That's a big one. Thanks, Bunnings. Just screwing that one up. They're never going to sponsor us now. Yeah, you can find us on Google Podcasts now.
Yep, we're definitely on there.
We are definitely on there. Ben actually checked it this week, and we are on there. You have to download the...
you have to download the Google Podcast app, which is all free and it's super easy to use, and we're just under
from
the
the Play Store.
Yeah, it's on the Play Store. So
it's not on the iPhone store. You have to still use the normal iTunes podcast app that you find on your iPhone.
Comes with your iPhone,
or some other third-party app that you can download, like Stitcher or Podcast Addict or something. But we're on the Google Play Podcast app thing. You can. What do you have to do? Can you just search for us?
You just like the search bar at the top. You just put the Drift Podcast in, and we're the only thing that comes up related to drifting there. So that'd be cool. Yeah.
Perfect. So if you guys do want to not see our ugly faces, you can just listen to us on audio through that. I'd probably say to just do that, to be honest. If you do want to see our ugly faces, though, I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube and to Facebook for the whole world to see. So in the future, this is going to be live. We're kind of doing practice runs at the moment. I'm still using the actual live program, but I'm just saving it to my computer. We'll probably do that for 1 or 2 episodes, get a feel for it, make sure it's all working to what we expect it to, figure out why the GoPro is beeping at us, and then we can go live and you guys will be able to tell us we look ugly live.
Yeah.
So, or something. I don't know. Maybe you think we're pretty. I don't know. Ben's a pretty one. All right. Well, I think that just about does it. And this will probably be back in 2 weeks. Which will be after that Driftwest event. So we'll probably, in the next episode, we'll have JMac back, and we'll actually have Lincho from is it Lincho Drifts YouTube? I think it's Lincho Drifts YouTube channel. Check out some of his videos before he comes on. He seems like a pretty chill dude. So
yeah, his videos seem pretty entertaining. So definitely check
especially
it out.
for like, it goes to show Australia can still make like entertaining stuff. I mean, we can't, but someone else can.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it to them. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. It'll probably be around maybe the 23rd, 24th of July kind of deal. Have a good 4th of July. Wait, has that already been? No, damn it. That's already been. I got that mixed up.
No.
Had a good 4th of July.
Yep.
I'm not in America, so I can make that mistake. Plus, you say your date's wrong. It could be, when I look at the dates, they could be like the 4th of July for us is the 7th of April, if you the way that you read your dates. The Americans probably don't get it anyway. All right. Anyway, we're done. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Again, you can catch us on the Google Podcasts. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, the iTunes Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, heaps of places, guys. So give us a shout out. Give us a rating on those things, because it pushes us up, and hopefully we can take over some of the